All right, hey everybody, welcome to Schizophrenia Watches The Matrix Reloaded times three. I forgot what the name of the movie
Have you
was.
ever the name of the movie was Have you ever felt like your life is like a video game trying hard to beat the stage? Because Neo apparently did.
Yeah, the name of the video game is Angry Joe's Pick for the Oscar 2021.
You serious? Really?
No, he didn't. No, he did. He
Oh
didn't
my
say he wanted to
god.
win an Oscar. He didn't say he
I
wanted
would
it to win an Oscar, but he did want it to. He did say it was good. No, he didn't say it was good. He said I don't know.
what do
He
you
gave
say?
it too much credit. Let's just anything above trash is already like a bad opinion.
It really it is I mean, I don't know if it's like complete shit. It's shit. I don't know if it's complete shit though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I mean, the first part of it was really boring. And like we were yelling at it to make sense at some point, but I don't know if it was like I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't like I would say complete shit is it like if it was completely boring and if it was uh if it was like I don't know, if it was kind of frustrating to watch halfway through, but like I mean it kept us busy. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was entertaining to watch and kind of watching a car crash.
Yeah. Well, not even a car crash because it was like, you know what it was like? It was like reading a fucking fan fiction of the Matrix. It was like My Immortal.
No,
It's like My
it
Immortal.
really was like My
Yeah.
Immortal.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, hold on. Should I start at the beginning of the thing? Okay.
Yeah, let's start from
So
the beginning of the movie, but it really was Lana Wachowski's like fan fiction of her owning the conservatards and Warner Brothers.
well hold on, we'll get to that. So the first note says Morpheus is an agent.
Yeah, so the movie
Um
starts with a bunch of nothing. No, wait, it starts with our main
oh,
protagonist.
spoilers if you
This
didn't watch the
whole
movie.
thing is spoilers. Uh, we're gonna spoil it because you shouldn't go watch it.
You
So
shouldn't watch it and
yeah,
stop being a bitch.
yeah. So um, the movie starts with them chasing the new protagonist of the movie, the little Asian girl with like a really bad lesbian haircut.
Oh yeah, and it's blue.
Yeah, and she's getting chased throughout the beginning of the movie, and she runs into a black agent who doesn't want to kill her. This is the whole beginning, by the way, people. We're not cutting the fat here. That's just it. She's just running away, and then yeah, and then that happens.
So my copy of the movie cut out. Did she do like a bunch of backflips? Because that's what I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, she was like jumping over the police and jumping through bullets and stuff like that, and being generally just the Matrix, you know. And
Right.
yeah, and then she runs into the agents. Eventually, the agents come after her, and one of the agents is a black dude. And it's like, oh, that's kind of strange. They got black agents now. That's interesting. So they go into a room together, and you finally find out that he's actually Morpheus.
Do they say it before? He's like, I think I know you, or something like that.
Yeah,
He's
they're like, why
"I-
are you trying not to kill me? Why are you a good man? Ooh, what thing.
Why are you the only black dude that's in the agents? Everybody else, all the other agents are white, I think.
Yeah.
So that was like another thing too. It's like the one like every other agent looks exactly the same, and except for this one agent. So of course he's gonna be like different somehow. Um, yeah. And then did they say at the very beginning that he's Agent Smith?
They didn't say
Oh no,
we
they explain it later. They explain it later.
they called him Agent Smith.
They called him that? Yeah.
Yeah, they called him Agent Will Smith.
Oh, and then she offers him the red pill, right? The red pill or the blue pill?
Yeah, yeah. So they explained that he's Oh hey, I got shotgun. They explained that he's Morpheus or whatever, and they have to take him out of this world. And they explain that part, but then they explain the red pill and the blue pill. Like he's like, oh, you take the red pill to leave, and then the blue pill to stay in this world or whatever. And then she does a whole speech about like binary thinking and stuff like that. She's like, oh, I know it's like a binary choice or whatever, but you don't have to like after you get out of the blah 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 blah. She talks for like a fucking minute of like nonsense. Who gives a shit? Which Angry Joe in his review said that was good that he did that.
Why?
Um,
It's like an exposition dump or whatever. Like
Not an
that
expedition.
should.
No, it wasn't an expedition dump. It was like a joke at the expense of people that think binarily. You know what I mean? Not even think binarily. It's a fucking like. There's more choices than just the two. You know what I mean? Like the joke is like, oh, what, two choices isn't actually a choice, and it's like, no, two choices is two choices.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially when they're like.
I guess that was the whole secret. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here.
What is it called? Especially when it's like the the best of the two or the ones that are presented to you. Because you still have, I mean, still have the choice. You know, you still have free will at that point. How is it not a choice?
Yeah.
It's just you don't want to suffer the consequences of either. So yeah. But you just want the best of both worlds, which is not like a thing that exists. But I mean, that's when you thought like that should have tipped him. Did he? By the way, Angry Joe, when he was doing his review, did he ever complain about any of the situations where that happens? Because it happens a lot in the movie where they just like go off.
He did like a 20-minute like he was in Colorado right now, which I'm tempted to go talk to him face to face. But he just did like a really quick 30-minute synopsis and stuff. It just came down to it wasn't the worst. I'm like, yeah, it was actually. And we're not even speaking as fans of the Matrix, because I like the first one, but that's it. And the first, and you know, and everybody likes the first one, but the first one maybe everybody likes it because they stole it from Grant Morrison.
They mean.
Grant Morrison wrote this comic called The Invisibles. That's like almost the exact same plot as the Matrix.
You serious?
Yeah, and even Grant Morrison was like, the second movie would have been better if they just stole more stuff from me.
No, I believe it because those dorks, like, I'm sure like Lana and the other Wachowski, the two Wachowski people were what is it called? They I mean, they seem like they read comic books and stuff like that, so I wouldn't put it past them to steal it. Plus, I mean, like,
plus
you see the I mean,
you were saying they captured lightning in a bottle, you know, with that first movie.
Well, that's my like whole idea behind the whole thing, but like I forget when at what point, because I want to like go. I mean, I don't know if we should continue chronologically or whatever, because I think I figured that like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, we can still go chronologically. We're just getting an aside right here with the Grant Morrison thing, just to get that out of the way.
Well, another thing to point out that's like probably makes that even more valid, or like adds more credence to that. Valid. Yeah, what is Paparino or whatever? Not valid. What is it called? But more like, there's more credence to that. Is that they made V for Vendetta, which is a comic book.
Yeah.
Well, they might just cut the fat instead of stealing it. They just did the fucking, you know, allegedly stealing it.
Yeah, allegedly. We gotta say. Well, I mean, what are they gonna do to us? But
Probably.
Actually, yeah, probably.
Oh. But
actually, I think Lana Wachowski would applaud us for like shitting on her movie, honestly, because she.
I think Jupiter. I think Jupiter Ascending is a comic book also.
That one I believe is it's a novel. It's when all those like Twilight novels were not Twilight. What's the Hunger Games? Novels were coming out, and like, everybody was trying to make their own Hunger Games. Like it was that one. It was The Maze.
Oh.
It was Jupiter Ascending. It was The Maze, and there were some other ones that I can't remember them right now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so forget what point we were on this aside. Another thing too is like not the worst of what? Like the worst out of every Matrix movie?
Which one? What do you mean?
Because he said it wasn't the worst, right? Or he was alluding to it wasn't the worst?
Yeah, it wasn't like as bad as people they said, I think. But anyways, let's just get off.
Compared to what, though?
I don't want to. I don't want to talk about Angry Joe this whole freaking thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
Morpheus is reduced. Morpheus is reduced to a sidekick to stalk women.
To stalk women. No, it's for a strong woman.
Oh, a strong woman. Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
because the
Sorry.
main character, the Asian girl, I believe her name is Bugs, because Warner Brothers made the movie, and I guess they wanted to,
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
use their intellectual property.
I didn't think about that, but that makes
Yeah, her
sense.
name was Bugs or whatever. I'll get to her a little bit later because I actually didn't hate her.
I was gonna say that she's, contrary to like what was said earlier, she's not that annoying, right?
Yeah, she's not a bad character. She just looks annoying. Cause we were like dunking on her at the beginning when we were watching it. We were just dunking
Yeah.
on her or whatever. But and then you watch later on, you're like, oh hey, wait, actually. But let's just keep going with the notes. Yeah, so they just made Morpheus a side character instead of being like the leader that passes the torch to the younger guy like he was in the first one. He's just like a sidekick.
Right.
He's following the girl around and like cracking jokes or whatever. He's like a Chris
He's a little-
Tucker. He's like a Chris Tucker type character. It's really weird, you
A
know?
little too goofy. Like they took all of his like, I don't know. He was just cooler in the other one, right?
Yeah.
Like he was.
And he's played by a different actor too, which was gonna be obvious from the beginning because Lawrence Fishburne didn't want to be in it, which good for him. You know what I mean? But they still had to like stomp his nuts in by neutering
think-
his character, you know? And if you
think
don't
that's
think that Hollywood people are petty people. You're like,
Sure, it
oh,
wasn't-
they wouldn't make fun of this guy in $1 million. Yes, they would.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what? I mean, with everything that we figured later, I wouldn't put it past with the Lana Wachowski or whatever.
Yeah.
She like, yeah. Well, we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. When we get to the first instant of it, I'll lay it out. But yeah, so that happens, and then they kind of go on with the movie and make sure that you're all in and stuff. Then it just kind of moves to showing what Neo is doing at this point, because there's nothing important after that. The next important part is just Neo, showing what he's doing, and apparently he's in the Matrix, living as a game developer. Who they
Oh yeah.
yeah he made a successful game, and now they're trying to make him make his magnum opus game that he's been talking about forever, called The Matrix. And this is where we get to the name of the game that he's making is The Matrix. And everybody
Was the
really wants
original-
him to make it. Boy.
Was the original game the binary or something?
His original game, I don't remember what it's called, and it's not very important because it doesn't come up again.
Right.
Yeah. So, but his movie is his game is The Matrix, and they really want him to make this game. And then this is where we get to the first instance of what this movie is all about, where I think you said it right away. You're like, oh, he's making The Matrix. They really, really want him to make the Matrix, but he doesn't want to make it. That sounds familiar.
At first, I thought it was like a First, I thought it was gonna be like a. I mean, it did become a fourth wall like kind of meta thing, but not in the way that I thought. Because I thought like at first it was gonna be like. This is the time when he's gonna start. They're gonna start criticizing the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it went into this. Do you remember? He at one point he goes into like a focus group, or not like a focus group, but like some developers meeting or something, and they're saying all these weird. They're saying like all these what's it called? Something terms. Like hot button terms or stuff like that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're buzzwords.
Buzzwords, yeah, they're saying all the buzzwords like nostalgia, and what else? They're just like brainstorming stuff that like, and then Neo's like not about it, at all.
Yeah, I think that's the scene after the scene in the boardroom though, where the guy really wants them to make the Matrix, and also
Oh right.
yeah. His boss is his boss, as you find out in the thing, because they're not very subtle about it, is Agent Smith, because they show a flash of Agent Smith's face over the guy's face.
Did they? I missed that.
Yeah, so you know he's Agent Smith. And also he has a bust of Agent Smith getting punched in the face. In the background, it's like really
Oh, right.
detailed, and they were very proud of it. Um,
I think that's another. That's another. What is it called? That's probably another
oh, another
backhanded.
dig, yeah.
Yeah.
At
Okay.
Hugo Weaving or whatever.
Another. What is it called? That's another. Adds more. That's another. Tick for that theory.
Yeah,
Game
definitely.
theory.
But yeah, so they yeah, and then they have a
Talking to the
brainstorming.
boss.
What?
Yeah. He's talking to the. Don't they say something more? I think they say something pretty heavy-handed during his meeting. No.
Yeah, that they
Right.
talk about like nostalgia selling and stuff like that, and people need to, um, like you can sell them anything. It was just basically them being like the oh shit okay. It was just pretty much just them like making fun of the audience for watching the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which here's the secret of that movie. Here's the secret of that movie. It's Lana Wachowski's like hate letter to the studio that made her make the movie and to the fans. She hates them. And she hates the studio for making the movie.
There was a part in the movie where that really like hit home or whatever, because at this point we weren't like super, like, we were just wondering like what the hell this movie was trying to get across. Or like, okay, so after the board meeting, what happens after that? I think that's when he starts when things start going crazy for him, right? And then he starts like breaking out of the Matrix, or they start trying to break him out of the Matrix, right? If I'm remembering that correctly. I don't remember how that started.
Well, they're breaking him out of the Matrix? Who knows? He's like
His,
running he's like running away. Yeah, they come and arrest him, and they do a bunch of like, who cares, you know?
Oh, also like Keanu Reeves can barely walk. He was hobbling through the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing. I think that's like a weird thing too. Is that they they Keanu Reeves is like clearly older, but for some reason they keep saying that he's like barely aged.
Yeah. Yeah, they say he barely aged, but I mean, comparatively, because it's 60 years later, so comparatively to everyone else, he hasn't really aged, but he has aged.
Yeah, you can see it. Like we can see it in front of our faces.
Yeah.
Oh, and then at this point we're like screaming at the well, not at this point, but we're like at this point we're starting to wonder like how the fuck is he alive? Like, didn't he die in the third one?
Yeah.
Like, isn't he like where does this go? And then he's also in his like board in his like office. He's got like pictures. He's got little figurines of the video game that he made. That's like scenes from the Matrix. Some of the Matrix movies.
Yeah. He also yeah, so it gets to that part and they start trying to break him out of the Matrix or whatever. No explanation so far though. Nothing. No explanation. I have in my notes that Neo is a Wachowski self-insert. So I think by this time I did all these notes in order. So since that's the next thing on my notes, there's probably at this point we had probably figured out that he was Wachowski's stand-in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
something we forgot to mention. His meeting with his therapist.
oh, that's
Something we
right.
forgot to-
That's what it was. That's what
Played
tipped it off.
Played by Neil Patrick Harris. Because we were like, what was it? What was he saying to him, that he's having like these delusions or something like that? That he's not in the right. He's not in the right like. I don't want to say the right body because that's too on the nose, but it was something like that where we're like, oh, is this Lana Wachowski talking shit about her own therapist? Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just trying to keep him like under wraps, like because he takes blue pills, right, to keep
Yeah.
him normal.
Yeah.
Like really digging in the trans allegory that wasn't there to begin with.
Yeah,
That wasn't.
exactly. And yeah, and Dookie Howser's like, for some reason he's like, he says like a bunch of like SJW like terms and stuff. You know, all the you know the things that they say. Like he keeps saying triggered and silence is violence, and if somebody criticizes you, oh yeah, he says if somebody criticizes you, it's violence. He's like, your boss was criticizing your work, and that's violence. And he committed violence against you.
It's really strange
It's
because of
really strange scene.
what happens later. No, because I just realized the thing that happens later
Mm-hmm.
is even weirder. But but it's obvious what's going on here. Which we thought like the whole trans thing was gonna be more prominent, but it really wasn't. It just turned into like a big bitch fest. But
Yeah. No, we thought it was
like
gonna
and
be
then
full of SJW, trans, all this stuff, because that's what people were making it seem like.
yeah.
But it wasn't that at all. It wasn't at all. It was just Lana Wachowski bitching about like
Yeah.
bitching about people she doesn't like. Either the people she gets into a fight with on Twitter, because I think she told Elon Musk to fuck himself. You know what I mean? Like the people she gets into
Right.
fights with on Twitter, the movie studio, the fans, people that want her to go back to making movies. 'Cause she doesn't give a fuck about making movies, people. I went on her Twitter. She goes to parties and galas and comic books, and she does comic books and does all that. She just never wants to make a movie ever again.
Turn into Kevin Smith, where she just gets high and like fucking does stupid shit all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So that's going on, and then they yeah. So the therapist scene happens, and then we find out that you know that all that Lana is a crazy person. What were we saying?
Okay, so he's taking the blue pills, right? And then after that, do they contact him through the mirror? That's when I think we get contact after that part. Oh, I think there's a scene where he tries to jump off of the he tries to like walk off the building or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when they finally contact him. We're trying to like where he's trying to like see if he can. I don't think he knows at this point that he can fly or he has like some semblance, but for some reason he's like, I'm gonna walk off this building. And then that's when I think Bugs contacts him. I remember she walks through like a door where there's like a bunch of light behind her or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I think I forget when they start getting chased by the agents. Yeah, but at some they start getting chased by agents, and then there's like a big chase scene, and they end up at a movie theater. And that was another thing too, where they think they meet, where I think Keanu or Neo meets Morpheus for the first time in this movie.
The new Morpheus. He meets
the new Morpheus, yeah.
But they're also projecting a picture of him meeting Morpheus from the old movie in there, and they say in the
behind
movie,
him.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
and they say that yes, there's a projection behind the thing, and they say that they have it there because of the fact that Neo. It's better for people to see, to remind them what happened before.
Right.
Like what? That's kind of heavy. I mean, usually don't say. I mean, it's usually not good to assume your audience is stupid.
They have the show don't tell type of thing, I think, for that reason.
Yeah. Because we figured when they went in there and they had the projection, I'm like, oh, they have to show people. They have to remind people that this happened or whatever. And then they go and they tell you it anyway, and I'm like, why did you? I put two and two together. You didn't have to tell me.
Yeah, it's like really hammering it in. I think if he wanted to get away with it, Wachowski probably would have been like, you know what we're doing?
Yeah.
Like he would have had Morpheus doing that shit. It's like the first movie, like like having him do it 3 or 4 times. But he even says like a little. He's all like, "Oh, something different, like a little nostalgia." He says that. He
That's
says
what the part
nostalgia
I was
again.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. And then I think from there. Oh, and then they do the mirror. Well, yeah. Well, another thing too is that like everybody kind of this is at the point in the movie where we started looking at the costumes of the characters, and they didn't look as cool as like as the other movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
Morpheus was dressed like a what is it called? Like one of those African dandies or like Somalian dandies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Congo dandies. Yeah, he was like dressed like that. And this chick with her blue hair, and some of the other characters just look kind of lame. Later on, they look really fucking lame. Like the style is like totally off, and I think they make mention of that in the uh in a later scene also.
Yeah.
Um, but I think they're like did they I think they present Neo with the pills at that point, and then he looks into the mirror. I don't know if he takes the red pill at that point, but he looks into the no, he doesn't. Um, did they present? Because there's a scene where there's a where they're in the bathroom, and then there's really, really, really bad acting by Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Um,
Keanu Reeves is acting terribly throughout the whole movie. He doesn't care anymore. He's just there for a paycheck.
yeah,
He didn't even bother changing. He wears the same he wears the same long sleeve jeans and trench coat combo. He looks like Kevin Smith. He wears like a Kevin Smith trench coat
yeah.
the whole movie.
He doesn't want to change. I guess maybe he had it in his contract or something that was like, well, I want to keep on my comfortable clothing. I don't want to put on the heel thing.
Yeah.
It's for most of it. Can we just get rid of that, please?
Yeah.
And Lana Wachowski's like, yeah, whatever.
I think he he's like, yeah, okay.
Whatever you say. Um, and well, he's looking at like a giant mirror that they set up, and then it turns all liquid or whatever, and then uh, you already say that the psychiatrist is played by Doogie Howser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So Doogie Howser, the psychiatrist, is like looking through the mirror, and then like he like tries to pull Neo in. He's all like, you need to get out of this place or something like that. You're not feeling right or something or something like that.
Yeah, he's just like, it's a delusion, Lana. I mean, I mean Neo.
Neo. I mean Keanu. I mean Neo.
Yeah.
I mean Cyberpunk. I mean what? Oh, that's the other revelation that we need to talk about later. But I forget what happens after this point. I think they escape, and oh, there's like a scene where they go through a terrain in Japan. It was so like lame that I forgot it happened. Right? They like go through doors, and they're like going through. They said something about not needing phone booths anymore.
Yeah,
they don't need phone.
Or just like, oh, you don't need phone books. You don't need anything anymore. Whoops.
Yeah, and then they're teleporting from like place to place through just walking through doors, and I was like, this looks like Inception. And they get attacked by a bunch of Japanese people.
Holy crap! It was Inception. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that when we were watching.
Yeah, but no, it looked like it. And then they're being like attacked by agents, and then they shoot like a. Oh, and this is where we find out that the agents are just taking over random people now, right? Instead of like transmogrifying agents into a person that takes over their body for a little bit and then they leave after that, they're just converting normal people into like weird zombies. Did we mention that earlier?
Yes. No, we didn't mention that, but that was the first revelation of it, because at first it seemed kind of weird, because in the Matrix, the original ones, they always killed normal people, like regular people. Because I think they explained it in the first one where they said, "Oh, they're lost already. They're too melted with the Matrix to what do you call it? Might as well just kill them." Which is kind of a fucked up thing, but I understand it, I guess.
They addressed that later in the movie, like around the. Wait, did they address that during this part, or did they address that like during the end?
No, I don't even think they were real people. Anyways, what were you saying?
Well, point is, they addressed that during the movie, right? Where they said like Oh, we're just killing normal. They said that in this movie too. They just said uh said oh, we're killing normal people. It's like, oh no, they're not. They're like bots or something.
Yeah.
Instead of the original plot point. Which I pointed out, like, they didn't really care. Like, in that first movie, they were just kind of blowing this, because I remember the security guard part, and watching the part where they're, like, in the bank or whatever, and they're, like, trying to bust Morpheus out, and they just, like, come in, like, looking super cool, and they just start blasting security guards. And I was like, oh, this is the inspiration for that one thing that happened in that one place that starts with a C and ends with an Columbine. But, like, I can totally see where this. Like, if you took the movie out of context and just showed that scene, it would look like a scene from Postal, like a Postal movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But like sorry, I got off the point, but yeah, so they're
That's
going
fine.
through
We
the
need
train.
to do that a lot in this one because
Yeah.
it helps us remember shit that happened in the movie.
They go off the they go off the train, and they somehow get off the train. I forget what the hell happens. A giant rocket destroys the train at some point.
They go through a mirror.
They go through a mirror, and then they finally end up in outside the Matrix. No. First, Neo gets transported to the goo cocoon or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they rescue him from that goo cocoon again.
With robots. With robots that they had converted from being bad, and now they're good.
Yeah, now they're good guys now. They like once they bring him on the ship or whatever, they explain that again. Then there was like something weird about that I remember. It was like they're saying like not everybody's bad or something like that, or something strange, because later on they I forget why the fuck they even rescued Neo to begin with. Because they say some exposition or something like that. Nothing super important.
They never
or something.
explained.
They never explained why they rescued him?
Yeah, it's an hour in and they haven't explained it yet. They explained eventually.
Well, that's when we get to they take him to the new like haven for the humans. I forget what it's called. It's not the original one. It's called something else.
Mm-hmm.
Which Jada Pinkett Smith is the leader of, right?
Yeah.
They get to that place and they explain that like the old Zion like collapsed in on itself after Morpheus died, I think. Mm-hmm. And then like at this point I'm like, oh, we're finally getting somewhere. This might be okay. Cool. We're gonna get the explanation of why the fuck Neo. First of all, why the fuck Neo is alive again. Number two, what the fuck? Why the fuck they even? Well, no, why the fuck they even rescued him? And number three, what the fuck is the plot of this movie? You said this is an hour and like 40 minutes in, right?
No, we're an hour. At this point, it's an hour.
Yeah, like an hour in. Okay, so then
this is an hour and 40-minute movie.
Yeah, so this is so Jada Pinkett Smith is all old and shit. And she starts like showing Neo some of the world, some of the like things that have happened so far, and she says like, and then she like gives the bugs, she gives her like a talking to or whatever, because she wasn't supposed to rescue Neo.
Yeah.
Or something, or she wasn't supposed to go off of like the beaten path or whatever. She was supposed to be doing something else, security or something. And then like she's like, oh, but we brought back the one, and then Jada Pinkett Smith says, I don't believe in the one. Again, fuck him. And so they like, Jada Pinkett Smith starts showing off the new place, whatever the fuck it's called, to Neo, and Neo's and you know, starts saying that they have like they're able to grow food now. Morpheus is there in like weird like he's made out of like metal balls or something, because like programs can't. They found out like a technology to make programs alive.
Oh yeah. By the way, Morpheus is a program that's like it's some Ghost in the Shell shit where his Morpheus's memories were stored in the Matrix. So it's like data that's in the Matrix, and it makes him into a person. And so
Well,
he
that's another
exists inside
thing.
the Matrix with all his memories and stuff. It's some Ghost in the Shell shit.
Then at some point Neo programmed that, made him an amalgamation of Agent Smith and Morpheus for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was like some weird like lack of memory or something like that, or something that forced him to do that. But um yeah, Neo did that. And so yeah, so they have like programs. I guess that's a callback to Agent Smith, because Agent Smith was like a virus or something in the third one.
Yeah.
Um so that's put in there. And so going back to Jada Pinkett Smith is showing Keanu Reeves around, and like showing them that they can grow strawberries or something like that, and that oh, she explains that there's like a war going on with like two different factions of the Matrix or something. And at this point I'm like screaming, what the fuck? Why why is Neo alive though? Like like what's going on here? Like I'm like getting like super frustrated because it's like I don't understand what the fuck is going on. But like I okay, from what I gather, Neo was like and me and Tony are like fucking like trying to figure this out. Trying to figure out what the hell happened. I'm like thinking like, okay, in the third movie, said that the architect or whatever his name is, said that they remake the one or something like that, but for some reason Neo was different or something. So I figured that was the case, but they never explained that in the movie. So we don't know why these rogue people went to go save Neo, or knew where we're looking for him in the first place. And we don't know why he's still alive. At least I didn't. And so they talk about the war between like the two factions of the Matrix, and there's like a robot war because there's scarcity in resources, which it's even weirder because it's like there's scarcity in resources. So wasn't there resources the humans?
Yeah.
So there's a scarcity of humans now, or did they find like, because there's no sun still. Sun hasn't been fixed. So that was like another thing, like, and it's just kind of like, when you think about it, because we weren't talking about this while we were watching the movie, but when you think about it, it's like, what doesn't make any sense. But they moved past it like super quickly, probably because it was like we need an excuse for there to be like a fight between robots, which is even less like valid like plot point, because why would robots be fighting with each other instead of just like their cold feeling? Like, why wouldn't they just get rid of certain aspects that aren't necessary?
Yeah, like the first time when Neo went to go present the deal to the robot AI, it was like a deal of like convenience for the robots, because it's like, oh, whoever wants to stay in the Matrix can stay in the Matrix, whoever doesn't want to stay there we can free them or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, well, something is better than nothing because these guys can kill us. You know what I mean? It's not worth it to keep fighting these it's not worth it to keep fighting these people, or especially when they got this guy who can just basically just destroy everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like, so it's not worth it. So it made sense for the robot's point of view. They didn't do it because of any feelings or because they felt bad for the humans. It was convenient to them.
It was kind of confusing. It sort of makes sense later on a little bit, but at this point we're just like so frustrated with like where the movie's going that we're like, or at least I was, where it's like, what is happening here? Like, I'm getting like super frustrated with this. And then I forget what tipped us off to this, but this is when we started remembering that there was a video game being developed around the same time that
Yes,
this
yes.
movie was coming out.
Yeah. And then yeah, there's a video game coming out for this game right now. And
This movie.
it's what?
The movie. Right?
No, the video game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a video game coming out for the around the same time that this movie's coming out.
Yeah. Well, this movie came out already, but there's a video game coming out for it, and it'll be out soon. I think they released a demo around the same time that the movie came out, and it just kind of like struck me as weird because I'm like, oh man, like this movie's not good enough that they can like hang this whole franchise on it. You know what I mean? Make this video game and make everybody interested in it. But then I kind of came to the realization that they didn't make this movie to make the movie good. I think what happened was I just came up with some theory because the movie, at this point, the movie was so boring that I couldn't think of anything else. So I was just thinking, I was like, did they approach Lana Wachowski, pay her a bunch of money to do this movie that she didn't want to do, and then not give a shit how the movie came out? I'm like, but why wouldn't they give a shit how the movie came out? Because they can make another 3.
Right.
And I'm just, you know, then I figured out that they're making this Grand Theft Auto style, like, open world game, Matrix game. Like, oh, I see what they're doing. This is just an advertisement for the game.
Which is like the most cynical, like, thing ever. Like, I didn't even know that they would still do shit like that.
Yeah,
They did that in the
yeah.
they did that in the 80s with like toys and shit like that, but I didn't think they would do it with like an actual like adult type of movie thing. But I guess since adults play video games,
Yeah, since adults are
makes
just
sense.
children now.
Yeah, they're just playing video games and talking on a podcast. It's
God damn it.
like man, but like yeah, I wouldn't think that would be like a thing, but like when you pointed it out, I was like, oh my god. I mean,
Yeah, because
so
Lana Wachowski didn't want anything to do with this movie, and the movie is just peppered with cynical like takes on the movie itself.
yeah, it's like well hold on, the biggest like the most egregious act of that is gonna come up in a little bit, right? So they start talking about I think there was another at some point they need to get Trinity back, right? But I forget what the explanation was for that. It was like I think Neo was like wondering where Trinity is, or, like who he remembers as Trinity, which he met earlier on in the movie, I believe. Maybe it was like in a dream sequence or something like that. And so they explained to him like forget why they need to go looking for her, but they explained something about him needing to like she's his other half or something like that, that there's a reason that they need her back for his like sort of power or something to work or something for him to be complete. I think it might have been like oh, that's what it was. Okay, I think this is finally where we get the explanation for how he's back alive. He was like transmogrified or something by the Matrix again. And they show this like scene where they're in like a weird goo pit together, him and Trinity.
Well, you're skipping to
And
the
I
end.
think was that the end?
Yeah, that was after
Oh,
this,
okay.
all this stuff that I wrote right here because the movie gaslit you.
Yeah. Well, I forget what we even said about that because like at this point I'm like trying to make sense of the whole movie.
Yeah, you're saying Lana
like,
Wachowski's doing this and that, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She's just a bitter bitch.
I'm trying to like.
She hates that she has to make this movie. She's just shitting all over the fans and shit. Because every 5 seconds they talk about how nostalgia's stupid, and anybody who like says that, what do you call it? Oh, also since Neo is a stand-in for Lana Wachowski or whatever, they're like showering him with praise all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't say that at the beginning, but yeah, they're just showering praise with him all of the time, and he's such a bad actor at this point. He's always been a bad actor. He's always been a bad actor, but he's so shit in this. It's incredible. I think it's like, I think the only costume change that he had the whole movie was just him on the ship. Like they changed his costume to like some rags,
Yeah, and they shaved
Um,
his head.
and they shaved his head and made him shave his beard, even though I'm kind of sure that they just digitally took his beard off. Um, but he
They-
but yeah yeah, but he didn't change the whole movie. It was like no effort from him. He didn't give a shit. Um, and neither did she. But she just thought it would be funny to put a bunch of jabs in there at Warner Brothers and at the fans. But what else? Yeah, there's another scene. I think it's like 2 hours in, and we get like our first scene with like Matrix bullet dodging.
Is that when they start fighting the group of randos?
Yeah,
in that, like,
rando ninjas.
weird...
Yeah.
They have like so they go back into the Matrix to go get Trinity, and they're trying to make their way back, and then like the rando ninjas, these I think they said something about them being outsiders or something like that, like people that were outcasts from New Zion. I'm just gonna call it New Zion or whatever.
No,
'cause I
no,
don't
they
remember
were
what
they
the fuck
were supposed to be purged when the Matrix got purged, but they were able to escape the purge. Oh, there was a big Matrix purge, by the way, which explains why there was no characters from the first one.
Oh, okay, I missed that part completely.
Yeah, there was a big Matrix purge. They got rid of all of them.
So they show up, and this is where it becomes like so clear what's happening here. The that rich guy from the second one, I believe, with his wife with the big jugs, shows up, and he's like a bum now or something like that, and he's like yelling about like kids on their cell phones or something.
Oh, yeah,
while there's like a big, while there's a big like while they're having a martial arts fight, like all through the fight.
Yeah, like first
And he's,
martial
like,
arts
just-
fight of like the movie, by the way.
Yeah, and he's going through like Lana Wachowski's Twitter posts or something, or Facebook like ideas about like how the kids these. Oh, and that's another thing too, is that he's saying like these kids with just random shit that has nothing to do with what's going on right now. He's just like in the background, not being attacked by anybody, not kung fu fighting. He's just monologuing his like random like homeless bum rants, which are Lana Wachowski's thoughts on like just society and where the entertainment industry is at right now, and the millennials, I guess, for him, because he's like Gen X. But he's like saying like, oh, it's nothing like how we were. We had style, we had class or whatever, which is funny because it's like you can't just point it out as that being the criticism when you know that, I mean, when it's clear that like just because you point it out doesn't make the person stupid for saying it, or like noticing that that's the case. It doesn't make what you made any better, because we had pointed out earlier that the characters look like shit and that their style looked retarded.
Yeah.
At this point, like, you're looking at the characters and they don't look cool at all. They look lame. One dude has like a weird like hair shaved or something like that, but this that homeless dude who was in the second movie is like going off on these like giant rant, and then like the kung fu thing ends, and it's like at this point we're like, yeah, no, it's definitely Lana Wachowski is definitely talking shit just in
Yeah,
just wrote
and
this-
the
yeah.
studio let her because they didn't care about the movie getting being good. It was just like, oh hey, the Matrix, and then they're like, oh hey, a Matrix game. I'm shocked that they didn't show a trailer for the Matrix for the game. I'm shocked that
Well,
they
the
didn't show
whole-
a trailer for the game. At
whole
the fucking
movie is
theater.
based. The whole movie's first plot point is that he's a game developer, which he wasn't a
Oh,
game developer in the other
yeah!
one. That like they have all the fucking memorabilia at the very beginning, all the memorabilia, and they have like, oh, there's a video games, you know,
Matrix the
there's a
game, Matrix the video game.
yeah. So so yeah, there's that, and then not only that, but like the characters. I think that's another point too, is that the characters might have looked dumb, because it's like this is what like a custom character would look like.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me, like, I mean, this could be total like this is totally conjecture right now, but it's probably why they look so terrible, especially with the blue hair. I mean, it could be updating, but it could be a point too. So they get past the karate fight, and I think I forget where the movie goes after that. after they're done having their like uh what is it called? They're duking it out. Oh, I think at the end, Neo is about to like escape or something from the karate fight, or they're about to escape, and then his boss shows up. His boss shows up and says, "Oh, I'm Agent Smith." Even though we said that at the very beginning, I mean, it was clearly like a thing, like it's me, Agent Smith, but in a different actor's body, right?
Yeah.
And he shows up and then then says something to Neo about I forget what the hell he said to him.
He was just talking about
Um,
like he was just talking about how he it was just more shitting on the fans and stuff. I think he said something about a franchise spin-off and shit. Oh no, the French guy said that.
oh, he said that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The guy from the other movie,
yeah.
homeless guy. Um, yeah, but I forget why he disappears, but at I think at this point they find a Trinity, and they're because I remember them being in a garage. Like they find she's like a woman.
Yeah.
She's like a female welder or
Welder,
something,
yeah.
or
And her husband's
out of,
called and her husband's name is Chad.
oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's handsome Chad.
It becomes important later. And so they find him there, and Neil Patrick Harris is there, and he is the ultimate bad guy of the movie.
Yeah,
Turns out he was
he has time freezing powers. He has the stand. He has the stand. The world.
the world. He has the world. He says
Yeah.
the world though, and oh god, this is even worse. I don't know if they had a name for it, but he's all like, he points a gun at Trinity's head and says, "Neo, I'm going to use the thing that you used to, I don't know, to look cool or something like that. Bullet time." Um, and he he like appears right next to Trinity, puts a gun to her head, and Neo is like running towards Trinity, and it's in super slow motion. But Neil Patrick Harris is moving normally at normal speed, excuse me, and then he like I don't remember if they have a name for. I don't. Did they explicitly say bullet time in the other movies?
I
I
don't
don't
remember.
think
No,
so.
they never said bullet time.
I mean, as far as I know, well, I mean, I feel like there's something about that. I thought they were just moving
I feel
very
like
fast.
I feel like that term didn't even that term did not come from that movie. The term came from Max Payne.
Yo, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think people just attributed it. They didn't attribute it to the Matrix. They just that's what they started calling that particular type of thing.
yeah. And so, because I was like, it was jarring to me. I was like, do they need to say that? Like, then he like just so explicitly, and then he had said something about feelings. He said something a lot like feelings don't care about facts don't care about feelings.
Yeah, and then we're like, oh my god, this is Lana Wachowski's ultimate enemy, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro, his psychiatrist, an amalgamation of his enemies.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro, his psychiatrist.
That's Lana Wachowski's enemies, dude.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah, like you said, psychologist, Ben Shapiro, the movie studios.
Movie studios, young people and their ideas and their like. I'm surprised he didn't start flossing like while he
Yeah.
was like shooting. It's actually my enemy. And
Yeah, he says
I
facts don't
forget-
care about your feelings, and then he says, what else does he say? He says that women. Oh no, that's later on. That's later on when he says all that the other stupid shit. But he just basically does a Ben Shapiro rant.
And so I think Agent Smith appears again to help them out of the situation because I forgot how the hell he got out of that
He
situation.
shoots him. He shoots him, I believe. No, wait.
Yeah, he shoots him.
No. I think he says. I think pretty much Doogie Howser's just like, leave the Matrix or I'm gonna kick you in the balls or some shit.
Right.
Yeah.
They also make mention of it's really not important, but it just popped into my head. Trinity needing to make a choice about wanting to leave the Matrix or something. Like I think it was like a subtle like thing about like body autonomy or something like that. But at this point, like it's all cynical. Like I'm sure Lana Wachowski's just throwing it in there just for the sake of throwing it in there. Maybe the executives had mentioned something about it, because I'm sure I don't know if like her brother, I mean her I guess sister now, but like her brother had said something about like the movie being a trans allegory, but I don't know if he ever signed off on that. Um so I mean I don't know. I could just be like thinking that with little information, but so I'm like wondering like if he's just cynically putting in all these like woke talking points or whatever just to get him in there, because every movie needs them now. So maybe like that's another thing about studio executives, because I mean
No,
in that one
I think she wanted to put him in there. Because she is an SJW.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, well yeah, I guess so. I mean, because everything else has been so cynical that I figured like that was another thing to it, because it doesn't seem like, I mean, if she told fucking Elon, she tried to dunk on Elon Musk or whatever, and then they were like, "Who is that?" Elon Musk and Ivanka Trump or whatever. Um. But so that was another thing too. In that board meeting, we didn't cover it, but they were talking about what the Matrix represents. Like the Matrix represents like this and that. It's anti-capitalism. They literally said that in the movie. It's like it's cool effects and stuff like that. It's like, which is why we were like, this is definitely.
Well, you were supposed to roll your eyes at them because they're like the fucking millennial like stand-ins or whatever.
Or like postulating about what the movie is about and the concepts and the themes. Because at that point, Lana Wachowski's just like, I didn't mean any of that. I just want to make cool pew pew movie. I also have a leather fetish. Wanted to put that in the movie too. But so so I guess they so I guess that doesn't go well, and then Neo and his group of like his group of flunkies, yeah. His crew, like someone had pointed out that his crew are like nothing people. Like they're not annoying, but they're also not. They also don't have any personalities. Like they could have been not in the movie at all, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But they I guess they have to like regroup, and they have to come up with a different plan. That's when so they go back to New Zion, and so they started talking to what's her name, Jada Pinkett Smith, who's now an old person and also a lesbian, and so is Bugs.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, so
No, because I liked Bugs. I thought she wasn't bad. It's surprising. It's surprising. Only men can write women characters. 'Cause Lana Wachowski, no, I thought he did a good job with Bugs. Like if it was a whole movie with just her, I wouldn't have minded. You know what I mean? Because I would have rolled my eyes at first and been like, "Ugh, God, look at this bitch." But her character wasn't that bad because she wasn't trying to show anybody up or get in anyone's face or try to prove that she was better than anyone. She kind of was just like wanting to save the day. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, is that like it's a really low standard, because like every like strong female character nowadays is like intrusive and an asshole and like has like self-esteem issues, but everybody seems to like her. Like she's just like so in, like the strong female characters are like insecure people in real life, but in the movie like everybody treats them like they're heroes. Like what you would know in real life is like the character traits would be a really insecure person. So I mean, it might have been like a low standard to me, because she was just like, I don't know if because she didn't really talk about herself a lot, and we don't know a lot about her as a character or anything like that. But we didn't even know why she went to go save Neo.
They never explained.
Yeah, we didn't know anything about like this character or like what her motivations are, if to throw a buzzword out there or a buzz term. But like we didn't know anything about her, so it's like just having a person who's just like normal and doesn't isn't like just trying to be better than the main character, which is Neo, um, is I guess is enough. I suppose nowadays, um, is how I feel about it. And it might just be that we're just so exhausted from those types of characters. Um, but they regroup and then Jada Pinkett Smith is contacted by um, another robot that's like in the form of like a weird like bird type of like robot thing, and that's they go into like I think they go into like a simulation, like their own little simulation where they all plug in and they talk to the robot's inner like programming, which is the little girl from I think it's like the little Indian girl that Neo talks to in Matrix 2, I believe. Um yeah, I think she was Matrix 2, like there was an Indian family that Neo talks to. And so that's where they're calling back from. And the actress that plays her is was also at the very beginning of the movie. Like me and Tony were like looking at her and it's like, why is this girl thirsting after thirsting after Keanu Reeves or whatever in a coffee shop before Keanu Reeves realizes that he's Neo. Um, but it turns out that that program is the program, the part of the Matrix that is helping um, or I guess like their own like little section of the Matrix that's helping the humans. Um, and and they come up with a plan to like break Trinity out of the actual her like actual body out of the Matrix. And she's like held in this giant um like fortress where the section of the actual hardware like physical form of the Matrix is. And so they come up with this plan and they're gonna it's New Hope. Plan is to do a New Hope where they shoot like Morpheus's like a magnetic dot body through a little section of the through the like goo tube of Trinity's a cocoon, goo cocoon, and that's how they're gonna like get themselves in there. And I think Bugs also sneaks her way in too. I forget what Neo's part in this is. I think he has to distract Neil Patrick Harris's um program. I think he goes down to distract Neil Patrick Harris's program to like have like a hash out like an ultimatum or something like that between them. So he's got to keep Neil Patrick Harris busy in the Matrix, while outside of the Matrix, Morpheus and Bugs go to rescue Trinity's physical form. Um, and this is where they have the really cringe uh like dialogue from Neil Patrick Harris, right, Tony?
Yeah.
This is where they say like they meet inside of a cafe, with a bunch of like security guards and stuff like surrounding Neil Patrick Harris, and he's like sitting on a couch, the cat, I believe. For some reason, Neil Patrick Harris really likes a cat. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be.
I think it was a reference to the cat from the other one. You know how they always see the black cat, and it tells them when stuff's going bad.
Right. Okay. Um. So, Neil, I forget what Neil Patrick Harris says during this point. Do you remember what he says?
He says that they're just there to have a meeting with him to see if Trinity would choose to be outside of the Matrix. So he just like, oh, yeah, but what does he wait for her or whatever, and she's like, no, I don't want to be outside of the Matrix, and he's like, oh, you know, he just says a bunch of like misogynist shit or whatever. He's like, oh, you know, he calls the husband a handsome Chad.
So at this point, like Neo is like talking to Neil Patrick Harris about what Trinity might choose, and then Trinity walks in with her family, which is like her family is like two boys and a father, um, and yeah, the father's name is Chad. So um,
Yeah, and then they talk about her choice or whatever, and she's like she has the choice between staying with her lovely family or going with this fucking Lana Wachowski. And of course, she has to choose Lana, which being a big lesbo with in quote unquote with Lana Wachowski instead of being having a happy family with her husband and two children.
Yeah, and so and then she's like and then like the husband's all like, "Come on." I forget what Trinity's name is. I think her name is like
Tiffany.
Teresa or something. Tiffany. Oh, okay. Her name is like Tiffany inside the
Surprised
Matrix.
her name wasn't Stacy.
She doesn't remember if. I don't think she remembers if Neo is Neo at this point. I think they had a meeting at the very beginning, or something. I guess like in the Matrix, in their new forms, they knew each other from like I don't know, some time when they were younger, and that's what their connection is inside the Matrix before Neo became Neo again, and so I guess she's like trying to suss out what's going on, and then like the um Amogus. So he she figures out like the husband is like, "Come on, Tiffany, let's go." So, let's go, and then she's like, "Don't call me Tiffany for some reason. Call me, I don't know, something
Trinity.
else or some Trinity." And then
and then she like, beats up her husband.
She like punches. Well, her husband is like he's turned into like one of the zombie like Matrix zombies, right? And then I was hoping at this point she like punches the husband, and like they start doing like they start using their force powers like Keanu Reeves has started like force blasting all the bullets that are shooting at them, and like stopping them with his force energy, and like I was hoping at this point that the two young kids were also gonna go crazy, and then they were gonna look like be like shitty like midgets that are attacking her, like stunt midgets or something like that. But no, it wasn't meant to be. So and that's when they make their like grand escape. Like I think like the whole coffee shop is surrounded by like Matrix zombies, and they're Keanu Reeves, I guess was his crew standing by to like save him at the time? I don't remember if he came in with his crew.
Yeah, they came in and he's like, this'll they'll help me or whatever.
Yeah, and then and so they break out, and then like things start going crazy. The Matrix zombies start attacking, like surrounding them, and then they're like Keanu Reeves and Trinity like jump on a motorcycle, and then of course Keanu Reeves is riding bitch, I think. He's in the back, and they there's like a big action scene where they're escaping the zombies. I think at this point this is where they explain that they're not like actual people, they're just like bots or something like that, so you can feel better about them dying.
Yeah.
And
because they were killing a lot of people.
They were killing a lot of random and normal looking people too.
Yeah, so, not it wasn't like in the other Matrix where it kind of made sense because they were like cops or whatever. They were shooting at them. You can kind of justify it a little bit because you're like, oh well, they don't want to die, and if somebody's trying to kill you, it doesn't matter what somebody's motivation is. If they're trying to kill you, you gotta defend yourself. You know what I mean? So you can kind of make a case for it. But they were just like, it was like random moms and shit like running at them. They're just blasting their heads off.
So from there they like I kind of lost my place here. So they're on the
I don't have a lot of notes for the end of the movie, so you're just gonna have to go off the fly on this one.
Yeah, I just I forget how because at some point there's a scene where like some of the who gives a fuck side characters are like being attacked by they're being swarmed by a bunch of
Agent Smith also shoots also comes out of nowhere and shoots Doogie Howser so they can escape. By the way.
on the face. Yeah, that's what it was. That's where it happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, he shoots him in the face. And they make their grand escape, and the no-name characters are being swarmed inside of a car by the zombie apocalypse, and Neo can't fly either for some reason. He tries. They make a joke out of him like trying to fly, and it won't happen. So he tries to. At some point, they get back to the Matrix. They break Trinity out of her goo bubble, her actual form out of the goo bubble. I think they give her the red pill at some point also, and they bring her back to New Zion. Which side note, Trinity has got a thick ass in the the
Yeah,
actress.
and she got like boob implants too.
Really?
When they were
Was it like that?
when she was in the goo bubble or whatever, they showed her like a side profile, and I was like, whoa, those weren't there before. Because I remember the sex scene from the second movie, I think it was, and she has like nothing. She has like a little boy chest. Yeah, and in this
like
one they're
now...
like they're out, and I'm like, oh damn, okay, good for you, I guess. But she had a lot of work done on her face too.
Yeah, I guess everywhere. But well, she also looked almost the same. Like maybe just slightly older, but like she aging pretty well.
Good surgeon. She had a good surgeon.
Yeah. So they bust her out of the fucking goo cocoon, and they show up back on the New Zion, and I think at this point I just kind of checked out of the movie. Because I'm like having trouble remembering what happens next.
They
have a.
Anyways, a bunch of shit happens. Who gives a fuck? And then they meet Neil Patrick Harris for the final showdown. Trinity is wearing her shit from the first movie, like the leather shit.
Wait! Don't they? I think at some point is this the same scene where they end up on a roof with helicopters?
Oh no! Sorry, yeah. That's when they're still running away. I don't know where you're
still...
at, dude. You're jumping around so much. I'm like, I don't know where to start at. But go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. Moving back. This is why it's called Schizophrenic Cast, people. So going back to the But by the way, I think this also is an explanation for why there's a war going on between the machines. Going back to the Agent Smith and Neil Patrick Harris.
The robosexuals.
Because I think Agent Smith is like a virus, right? And this is me like getting gaslit by the movie again because Agent Smith was a virus in number 2. That's what led to the war with him or like the last battle with him and Neo, because he's a virus that goes against the Matrix, and is causing a bunch of trouble. So that's where he's more like a side character in this, really, because I'm not sure if like who's causing the big issue, if it's him or the Indian lady. Think like Agent Smith just kind of exists there wreaking havoc. He's the Joker baby.
Yeah.
Okay, now from that aside, jumping back into the chase scene where they're being chased by the zombies and stuff like that. It's like big and grand. They end up on a roof at some point, and 2 helicopters are like attacking them, and they're shooting at them, and then like Keanu Reeves uses his fucking force powers to stop the big helicopter bullets from shooting at them. And there's 2 helicopters this time. And they redo the scene while the helicopters are shooting at them, like just unloading their guns. They do the scene where they're looking upwards at the helicopter with the shell casings falling down from the first one. And it's just like, oh god. Let's not I mean, I guess that's better than them showing the actual clips from the movie, because sorry, when did they show the actual clips from the movie? Was it when they started kissing each other?
Yeah, when Trinity and Neo fall in love again. They showed the clips from the movie where they fell in love.
Yeah, from the other movie. So that's another instance of that. I don't know. Yeah, another instance of Lana Wachowski shoving it down your throat and calling you dumb without really saying it.
Yeah.
Even though she does say it. So they're there, they're shooting the casing, and then I guess one of the I think someone shoots a rocket, and then one of the helicopters shoots a rocket, and then Neo like force pushes it towards the other one, and I forget why they need to jump off the building, but yeah, I forget why they need to jump off the building, but they need to jump off the building for some point, and then like the lamest thing happens. Trinity grabs like Neo by the hand, and then she starts flying, and it looks so shit. It looks like wire, like she's just kind of floating there with Neo, like, and she says like bye bye to like whoever's chasing them, and then they like make their escape. I think that's when the ending of the movie comes up, where they have come with their powers, right? And they're both dressed like the Matrix. Well,
no, Trinity's dressed like the Matrix.
Trinity's dressed like the Matrix, and Keanu Reeves decided to put on a coat.
Yeah,
they
he
at
put
least
on a
were able to
he
get
put
him
on a
that.
pea coat. He put on like a pea coat over his fucking t-shirt and jeans.
T-shirt and jeans that he's been wearing his comfortable clothes that he's been wearing the whole time.
Yeah.
But Trinity's actually decked out in the actual attire.
Oh, by the way, Keanu Reeves has like a really bad fucking limp the whole movie.
Oh yeah, he's like hobbling like an old man.
Yeah, like really badly.
You can see it in that scene where Neil Patrick Harris has the gun to Trinity's head.
Mm-hmm.
He's like hobbling towards her, like he looks like an old prospector. Like
yeah, he's all bow-legged.
Yeah. So I don't know where he got that. He probably got it from like doing John Wick scenes or something, right?
I guess so. I mean, did he ever jump? Did he ever jump or anything in that movie?
He jumped a little bit. He hopped a little bit when he was trying to fly. Oh, in John Wick?
Yeah.
Oh no. He did
There was
some
like a
kung fu
lot
thing.
of kung fu gun kata stuff, but like that's not too bad on your knees.
I don't really know. Maybe he used to run a lot or something. Cause I'm sure all the scenes where he's like falling down off of roofs and stuff like that are a stunt double. So, I have no idea. But he's got like some back issues or something. So they meet up with Neil Patrick Harris. Again, all dressed in the attire, and they say like and Neil Patrick Harris gives them a spiel about like, oh, this is how it's always been. People are sheep. They're sheeple or something. I think he actually says sheeple.
Yeah, he says like Alex Jones sheeple. Wait,
Yeah.
actually, even though they always attribute that quote to Alex Jones, I know leftists always say that that's his thing, but I don't think he said that. That was like another radio host from like the 90s that said that.
Rush Limbaugh or something?
No, not even him. Like the dude that I think maybe he did like AM Coast to Coast. You know, the guy who talked about aliens and stuff. But anyways, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. That's a subject for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, another podcast where we talk about Alamos.
Yeah. So, so they're talking with Neil Patrick, and Neil Patrick Harris tells them like, "Oh, why don't you make the sky a rainbow? Why don't you just create your own sandbox, sandbox video game
Where you can do whatever you want.
where you can do whatever you want? You can like start spawning like a bunch of cars and make a car gun or something like that." And then Trinity's all like, "You know what? We might just do that because we're gonna burn this whole system down."
Yeah.
And then they like,
July 5th, 2022.
and then they both like fly into the atmosphere, like the beginning of the first the end of the first movie. Sorry, what?
I forgot to say that Doogie Howser says women were easier to control back in the day.
Oh yeah.
But that was like way earlier. I just totally forgot to bring it up. Anyways, go.
Cringe. That's it. That's the end of the movie. They both fly into the air, and that's the end.
No, they like punched Doogie Howser's jaw off for some reason.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because well, he said something about like her being ugly or something like that. He's like your ass looks fat, and then she punches him in the face, um, like knocks his jaw off. But yeah, then they say they're gonna break the conditioning or something and then leave.
Yeah.
And then they fly off into the sunset. And that's the end of the movie. Um, overall, I give it a 4 out of 10.
No, I gave it a
Closer to
0
a
out of
5.
0.
Shit was like totally unnecessary. Honestly, it's probably like a 1 because it's a movie. It's like I mean, it gave us a lot of like funny moments when you think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, and in
It just show-
the ending credits song is Zach De La Rocha's daughter or something like that.
Oh god,
It's
yeah,
like,
that
break
was
it down. It's like some girl like doing a bad Zach De La Rocha impression.
yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, and what else? Oh, and then they had a post credit stinger. Do you remember the post credit stinger, Danny?
It was the focus group again, right?
Yeah, it was a focus group again, and they're like movies and all this stuff is like passe or whatever. What if we just do like cat videos? And then that was the end of
Oh,
it. And I
yeah.
was like, oh my god.
Very, very timely.
It's like people don't
very-
care about stories or anything. They just care about stimuli. So we gotta make cat videos, and I'm like, oh boy.
Well, I mean, judging from how well the movie's doing, I guess they do care about story, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what's funny about like the whole thing is like they're talking so highly of like how stupid people are. Like I guess movie. I mean, sometimes I like get really jaded about like movie audiences and stuff, but like seeing how bad. I mean, from what I hear, like how badly this movie's doing, it gives me a little bit of hope because it's like so. It's just so cynical. I mean, it's like you said, it's just an advertisement for the video game.
Yeah. Well, that's what the studio wanted. The studio wanted to be a little brain worm to remind you that the Matrix exists still.
Right.
Lana Wachowski just knew that she didn't want to do another one.
Well, I read an
So
article.
she fucked it up as hard as she could.
I read an article where they were talking about her like putting off the movie for so long and like not answering her phone call to just avoid the studio because they've been asking her for so long to make another Matrix movie. I forget what the article said was her ultimate reasoning for wanting to do this again. I assume it was something to do with money, so she can so he can fund his like weird, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like I guess trips or something, like maybe doing more drugs or something like that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like I don't know. Let's make I mean make extra money or something like that. Like the brother wasn't even involved in it. And another thing too was like the reason for citing it was that they Lana Wachowski said that the story's done. There's no reason to go back to it. But you see that he was right because see that it was right because there's like nothing to gain from this movie. There's like no forward like movement in the story or anything like that.
Yeah, the only thing that came out of it was the hee-hees and the ha-has of the
what is-
chuckling at her like getting really mad.
What is there left to say about the movie? Like they came to a thing that worked out for everybody. They came to an agreement that worked out for everyone in the original movie. There's no reason to like rebel against the system that's like clearly working for them apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to like come up with like this weird like glitch thing. It wasn't even necessarily the issue with the the agreement that they came to at the end of number 3. They just it was just like an error that happened, or like for some reason they're bad again. Like they just find like like the whole point of the movie is that the reason that this is happening is because of resource issues. But like we said before, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like forced conflict where there isn't any.
Mm-hmm.
So like this movie doesn't need to exist. I mean, it was funny while we were saying this. Some other people made some reviews, saying the same things what we were saying during the movie. Is like the Lana Wachowski hasn't made anything good since the first Matrix movie. Maybe V for Vendetta, but that shit is cringe. Especially with the people that took it over or whatever. Um, Jupiter Ascending sucked. I can't think of anything else that they've made that's like decent that the Wachowskis have made since decent. We said this at the beginning of the podcast. They had lightning in a bottle and they haven't, and they're
It might have been stolen.
might have been stolen.
Yeah.
So like like we're people are not even people because no one's watching it, but like the studios are like holding on to the property that is like just trying to squeeze as much money out of it as possible. Which I guess they're a business. That's what they do. Um, but yeah, I guess it's like just time to leave the Wachowskis alone. Like try find some new people.
Yeah.
I guess.
Hollywood has
Maybe.
a big problem with that. You know, a director only has maybe. I mean, shit. The Wachowskis had one movie, but
This is your theory. This is an original theory by Tony here on Schizophrenia Cast. Go ahead. Sorry. What you're about to say because I've never heard anyone else say it anywhere else.
What, the advertisement for the video game?
Oh, the director's thing. How many movies that a director has?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I love film. That's why we're doing movie reviews because movies are one of my favorite things of all time. Okay, most directors have maybe 2 or 3 good movies in them. That's it. You know, unless they're like, you know, Stanley Kubrick, where he's a fucking psychopath, where he can make like 4 or 5 good movies. That's how much you're gonna get. That's it. You can't do it anymore. Your brain can't work that well. You know what I mean?
Look at Paul Thomas Anderson and like
yeah. And most directors don't get good until they're like in their 40s or 50s anyway. That's when they start really getting like these really getting good. Even though there's a lot of good young directors too, they peak hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're only gonna get a couple good movies out of yourself anyway. So you just gotta you just gotta get in there, and you have to get the young directors in there and get them in there as quick as possible. You know what I mean? You can't just have Steven Spielberg gets like a couple good movies and that was it. I know he's amazing because it's like Jurassic Park. In what else did he do? Jurassic Park,
E.T.,
E.T.,
Jaws, Indiana Jones. He's got a lot actually.
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
But he might be.
How many is that though? That's 4. What else?
4, yeah, but
8mm. I mean 8mm. That he didn't direct that one. That one, Super 8, sucked. A dick.
Yeah.
Right. Schindler's List is good, so that was one of his 5.
Yeah,
but he's like an exception. You know what I mean? That's 5. Now name another one. You know what I mean?
True.
Steven Spielberg.
I don't know.
Animaniacs, that's a cartoon show. You know what I mean?
I'd say that like
I'll go to his thing right now. Let me pause this because the gameplay doesn't matter anyway. So let me see.
Well, I was thinking like if you think about it like being a director it takes a lot out of you from what I've heard.
Here, Spielberg is the gold standard. So let's look at his movies just to prove my point. But go ahead.
And some of those are kind of some of the like the major directors, some of the movies are kind of debatable because you don't know if they're riding off on the same hype. Martin Scorsese, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Casino. Which by the way, James Cameron, we kind of noticed this. He's been making the same movie for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Terminator, Aliens, kind of the same movie. No one, I don't think anybody really liked the plot of Avatar. Titanic is probably his 3rd. And I don't know what the rest of them are. And then even Stanley Kubrick had the flop of AI. So,
okay.
Oh wait, that was Steven Spielberg. He directed that movie.
Yeah.
He didn't write it.
Indiana
Jurassic
Jones,
Park,
E.T., Indiana Jones again, The Color Purple,
Okay.
Empire of the Sun. I don't know about that one. Indiana Jones. These are only the good ones. People. Hook. Was Hook good?
Oh, yeah. No.
Jurassic Park, Schindler's List. Jurassic Park Lost World. That one sucked. Amistad. That movie sucks. Sorry, everybody. I know it's like, oh, slavery should win the Oscar. It's not a good movie. Saving Private Ryan. AI.
Alex,
My AI sucked. Minority Report
guys, that
sucked. The Terminal sucked. Catch Me If You Can sucked. Um, even though people swear by Catch Me If You Can, but I think they like the book better than they like the movie.
the story behind it, I think the
Yeah.
actual real life
War of the
story.
Worlds sucked a dick. Munich was I've never watched it, so I can't really say whatever. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull sucked. Tintin
Yeah.
sucked. Warhorse sucked. Lincoln definitely sucked. Bridge of Spies sucked. The Big Fucking Gay, the the BFG,
What?
the BFG
Oh.
sucked.
The big friendly gay.
Yeah, Ready Player One sucked a dick, and he's about to make West Side Story the remake, which is gonna suck.
Oh no, West Side Story I think is already
Out?
I think the remake came out. Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, that's it. That's his movies. Five
Bombed
movies.
hard.
5 good movies.
Yeah,
And he's the
so,
gold standard. He's the gold standard of directors. You know what I mean?
Martin
He's the
Scorsese-
top. He's
I-
the SA rank. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
you know, there's never going to be another Steven Spielberg. So imagine that. He only has 6.
Christopher Nolan is another example of that. Oh,
He's going on his 3rd good one, though.
Who? Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
No, Christopher. No, I'm saying Christopher Nolan is a good example of like only a few in the tank and then he's done.
Yeah.
Because like fucking
Paul
Batman.
Verhoeven only had 1. I mean, Paul Verhoeven had 2, and that's it.
Right.
Starship Troopers and RoboCop. Who are other famous directors?
Showgirls. Then they ended up with he ended up with Showgirls is what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. The
Um,
Wachowskis had 1. That's it. That chick
Yeah,
from
and-
Juno had 1. Oh no, she wasn't a director. I'm sorry.
He was a writer.
She was a
I
writer.
don't know who directed Juno. But yeah, it's like it's the list goes on.
Yeah.
So
That female director had like 1 good movie and that was it. I forgot who she
Yeah.
was. But anyways.
so I guess good directors are like really perishable, I suppose. Like they're like really they're like ice cream. You gotta throw them back in the fridge
Yeah.
immediately, or like just get rid of them.
Yeah, or
Use
just
them
have
quick,
big stretches
'cause-
between their movies and just have more directors. You can't just you can't just pile up on the guy's back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On any director, you can't just pile crap onto their back, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that's a we went off on like a really big tangent. But
Well, it's
like-
important for people to know because these movies don't suck just because they suck, you know what I mean? There's thought and oh well, thank you. There's like thought and stuff put into it.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's just like a pattern too that I think people won't really notice or like at least forget. Like they'll know it for a while, but then they'll forget about it once the new like hotness comes out and he's got a few hits.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get hyped for him again, and then he'll eventually flop, and then he'll be no, and then he'll keep flopping, but they'll still give him money just because he's a well-known name. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you think? Do you think that the game is gonna do good? The Matrix game?
If it's
Quality game,
it
right?
might be if it's a quality game. Because I think they're
'Cause,
just like I think they're trying to cash in on the Grand Theft Auto craze because you know Grand Theft Auto 5 people are still playing it online. So I think they're trying to cash in on that, but they have to make sure that it's good and you can do a lot of stuff in it. Because if it's really bare and plain and you can't really do a lot, because you can do a lot in Grand Theft Auto 5. You can do a lot.
Right.
But if you can't do any of that stuff in the Matrix, they're gonna have a flop on their hands.
If you can't find a brain inside the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
You
No.
can't,
Well,
like-
if you can't like you can do a lot of stuff in you can do a lot of stuff in GTA 5. You can do
Validate
heists,
cipher.
you can do car racing, you can own property, you can run businesses, you can shoot it out. You can shoot it out with people. You can challenge them to like shootouts. You can do all this crazy stuff. You can explore the world and just demolish people, demolish stuff. You know, play casino
Well, I guess-
games. You can make a crew. You can make a gang. You know, you can do all this stuff.
I guess since like they what's it called? Can what's the word? They threw a bunch of money at the movie to get it out there. They must have put some time and effort into the game, hopefully. Otherwise, this would be all for naught. Like they would have lost. Like I heard, like opening box office was like 16 million, and it cost like, and I think the projected like budget is like 160 million.
Jeez.
They only made 16 million, whereas like Spider-Man,
Spoderman.
no way. What is it called? Tom Holland can't carry a movie by himself. Uh, um, 3 it's like I think like 300 million domestic.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like really big. I think I saw a headline that it said it was the second most ever made. I think it's gone to the first. Um, just coming out around the same time as the Matrix movie. So this is like, to me, it's like a giant flop. Like if they make 300 million worldwide for the Matrix, this Matrix movie, I think it would still be like pretty bad. Yeah, it'll probably still make a profit because like, sure, people in China will just see anything that like they recognize, but um, but I think it for like a big movie that like costs that much money and like a property that they've had for like over like 2 decades, it's pretty bad. Um, if it doesn't make like 3 times as much money than it costs to make, so yeah, let's hope that they better hope that game is good.
Yeah, seriously. Oh
I,
man.
because I didn't really. I guess you still. I mean, you can't just go off of name recognition alone. You have to go. You have to make something good. You have to
Yeah.
make something decent. Um, I mean, I saw the Spider-Man movie, and for a while I was like really jaded on like Marvel movies, as I've said in like other episodes. But it was actually not bad. It wasn't that. Um, so yeah, I guess Marvel has the formula down, and Paramount is trying to copy it, but um, yeah, it's just get a fucking director that wants to do it, I guess, or maybe that has like
They
some good
could have
ideas.
easily, if they
New
wanted to
one.
reboot it, they could have easily handed it off to a young director.
True. Yeah, that would probably
Yeah.
would have been way better.
Just have Lana Wachowski write it.
Nah, fuck that. No,
Um,
no involvement. You're done. You are done.
I mean, she didn't want any fucking involvement anyway, so I don't know. They asked her recently if she was gonna do if there's gonna be trilogy. She's like, fuck no, I don't want anything to do with that shit. So I'm like, okay, well, good for everybody. Shit, you know.
Want anything to
This
do
could
with
work out
that.
for everybody. Then I don't want you to direct it or you have anything to do with it, and the property is still good.
My psychologist is wrong. I don't need to take pills. All right, those are the blue pills. God damn it, I'm red pill. I know what reality is.
Yeah, we're taking back the red pill. She said
Oh God. Cringe.
she hates how conservators took it.
Oh really? I can't think of any insults for like conservatives.
That's the only
Yeah.
insult I can think of. Chuds.
What is it called? Chuds. I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that shit that they. Oh boy.
take it out with what is it? What is the chuds? Yeah, I'm gonna take it out with the chuds. Anyway, here's a meme of Minions meme. There.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll just end this on a high note. Any final thoughts?
Um, I guess if you're gonna watch the movie, which I don't recommend, skip through the first half because it you not knowing anything is just as good as how well the movie explains the plot to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like try to maybe branch out from like shit that you know already and try to look for new stuff. Like it's better to be disappointed by new stuff than shit that you've been watching since you were like 7. So
Exactly. Exactly. I would say if you're gonna watch it, just don't take it seriously. Don't try to like don't get mad. Don't be like, oh, I can't believe these guys suck. I can't believe they did. Watch it like you would any other goofy movie. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch, and you're probably you can watch it to be like, what the fuck were these guys talking about? And you're like, oh, they left this out and they left that out. Because I know a lot of people are gonna curiously watch it, but I would say if you are gonna watch it, be prepared for an almost 3 hour movie, but also don't take it serious. It's not a big deal. Nobody it's on HBO Max. If you got HBO Max, you're not paying for it. You're probably not gonna pay for it anyway. Knowing knowing all the people out there on the internet. They so don't take it too
He
seriously.
washed
This is a
out
funny
camera.
watch. You know what I mean? It's kind of hilarious to see this lady like lose her fucking mind. Just the most passive aggressive thing in the history of all time. You know what I mean? Besides that fucking one lady killing John the Baptist just because. The most passive aggressive thing you could have done is like do a Hollywood budget movie, $130-something million movie just to be like fuck you millennials.
Pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
fuck you. This property sucks. I hate it. I hate my own. I have creator's remorse. I have creator's remorse.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a term yet, but we're coining it now here on Schizophrenia Cast only.
Exactly. Okay, one last final thought. Hassan fight Sam Hyde. Just fight him already. Just get your ass kicked. It's fine.
Or fight Tony. One of those.
Yeah,
one
fight,
or the
or
other.
you can fight me. I'm short and fat. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you would beat me up.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't be able to lay you out or anything like that with an overhand. Even if you saw it coming, you probably still couldn't protect against it. Also, I've liked Spider-Man since I was very young, and I still like him. So, what is it called? Should we end it there, or
Well, yeah,
like-
I wanted to end it on Okay, well, if you're gonna iDubbbz fight Jake Paul or fight Danny, pick one.
or fight me, motherfucker. Fight somebody or fight FouseyTube. That's probably that's a fight.
Fight Anderson
like that's
Gibb.
Oh yeah, or fight Gibb. Yeah, he'll fuck you
I'm gonna
up.
send it. Yeah. We just want to see iDubbbz get fucked up. Okay, I'm gonna send it to iDubbbz. All right, everybody, have a good night.
I'll pay to watch iDubbbz get beat up in a chair. If he wants money that badly, he can pay me to just beat the shit out of him in a chair, and I would pay the same. So that's how you'd get my money. Thank you very much.